Well, it's that time of the year again. You already know what it is. We are up in Manchester, the theater of nonsense, the theater of charlatans. You already knew some nonsense was going to go on, my people, and watching that game, of course, it unfolded that way. Absolutely ridiculous. Let's get into it. Good afternoon, my peoples, and welcome back to the counterattack. Hope you and yours are doing very, very well. As you can clearly see, I am back home with you, my peoples. And we have Manchester United versus Arsenal today. I looked at the lineup this afternoon, and Zinchenko returns, but otherwise they're the same exact team as Villa, except with no Tierney, of course. And I looked at this and I thought to myself, come on. We can win this game. We're definitely the better team. I don't care how resurgent United are under Erik ten Hag, whatever. From the jump, you could see that the United fans, they were up for it. The team was up for it. They started really, really aggressively, and something I didn't like about the way we started, we were sitting back a little bit too much for my liking. I did not enjoy that. We were letting United attack us, and I thought to myself, why? We are better than this team. We had to be more aggressive in that opening 10 minutes, and we just really weren't. We've sort of gotten used to Arsenal being the team that's more aggressive at the start of matches, at least. And when that didn't happen today, it just did not make me feel good. But we grew into the match as the first half went on, and oh boy, here comes the nonsense. Oh my goodness, my people, it makes my blood boil. Woo! Martinelli, he gets sent in through really, really good finish with his left foot. But guess what? The VAR brings it back, and big talking point. But the VAR rules it out for a very, very soft foul on Eriksen by Odegaard. And I'm looking at it, and I'm thinking, okay. He did not, I don't think he got any of the ball. But there has to be some physicality allowed in the game. There just has to be. What is this? He puts his hand on his back, barely touches him. Eriksen goes over like a ton of bricks. As if the wolf showed up at his house and blew him down. What is this man made of? Like bamboo twigs? Utterly ridiculous. He goes over, starts rolling around on the ground. Ridiculous. Very soft foul. And Paul Tierney. Paul Tierney, by the way, from Manchester, and the VAR official, I can't remember his ridiculous name, but he's also from Manchester, and guess what? Paul Tierney sees it in real time. He is 10 yards away, looks at it, and says there's nothing wrong with that, lets it play on. How can he see it in real time from so close and say there's nothing wrong with that? Nothing wrong with it at all. He clearly sees that Eriksen has gone over way too easily. He's trying to buy a foul. Arsenal counter and we score. The VAR makes him look at it in slow motion, which, by the way, if you look at any physical contact in slow motion, it's going to look much, much worse than what happened in real time. They chalk it off. I think that foul is sort of in a gray area of whether it's a foul or not, and the call on the field probably should remain the call. But that tends to not happen. It's happened in a couple other games, like the West Ham game, where they decided to chalk off a goal because allegedly the man fouled the keeper. But what happened in the Villa game when I think it was Kamara had his arms wrapped around, impeding Ramsdale? Douglas Luiz scores from the corner. Where was the foul there? It is the lack of consistency from these referees that is killing this game. The goal should have stood. Ridiculous. We were actually playing very well after the VAR call ever since the first 10 minutes, where we didn't have much control in the game and we were letting United be way too aggressive with the ball. We grasped control back of the match, and we were the better team from then on. We're going to get into the other goals and what happened, but we were the best team. We were the better team from then on, hands down. But here comes the first goal, a big hole in our midfield, and this was just a reoccurring theme with almost all of United goals. Big hole in our midfield for Fernandes. He finds the player, slots it into Anthony, who is pretty much free on the right-hand side, passes it into the corner, 1-0 United. What a gut punch. We went in 1-0 down at halftime, and we were the better team for most of that first half. It's just so frustrating to be down at the half. United, they're fortunate. That goal should have never, never, never been chalked off. It was not a clear and obvious error. Paul Tierney was literally right there. The VAR decided to re-referee it, and then they watched it a million times in slow motion, which of course makes everything look worse, and they chalked it off. United, frankly, were very, very lucky to wind up that first half with the lead. We start off the second half, again, much the better team. It's good to see that there wasn't too much of a disconnect the way we ended the first half to the way that we started the second. Arteta doing really well to keep, the intensity up, and the second half started very, very well, and we absolutely deserved the equalizer. 60 minutes into the match, we win it back high up the pitch. United very sloppy. We win it back high up the pitch. We feed it to Jesus, who kind of doesn't really get on it. Varane half clears it right into the path of Saka. He scores his first goal of the season. 1-1. Let's go, my people. It's really, really funny how United sacked Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and then some of their best games have come from playing the style of football, counterattack football, that he played. Oh, my goodness. Again, our high line, just like the way that United got at Liverpool. I mean, our high line absolutely killed us. When you play a high line, your defenders really have to have just a 360 awareness, and our defenders really didn't. Our midfield sort of kind of left them to hang, and here comes United's second goal on 66 minutes. Rashford's played in, and he scores. 2-1 United. The midfield just not plugging the holes. I'm reticent to blame Lokonga, but I think there is some naivete with him. I don't think he was aggressive enough when he needed to press, and thus, when they bypassed him, there were huge, huge holes for their forwards to run into, and that's what killed us today. That's what killed us. About 9 minutes later, here comes United's third goal. Really, just the ender here. Again, our high line. This time, Ben White tries to set the offside trap, but Saliba is looking the other way. Gabriel is dealing with something else. Our midfield is just too naive. I mean, Partey, he really needs to come back as soon as possible. Plays it into Rashford, and Rashford gets a little bit lucky as there's a deflection off White's foot. It lifts it up over Ramsdale, 3-1. And those two goals are pretty much carbon copies of each other. Holes in the midfield lead to transitional goals for United. Sucker punch. Looking at this game as a whole, yes, the scoreline wound up 3-1 to United, but I feel that really does sort of flatter them a little bit. I mean, we had 61% possession, way more shots. We just were not clinical enough with the chances that we were creating. I mean, we created plenty of chances, lots of cutbacks. I mean, just not clinical enough in the final third. Oftentimes, I found that when our wingers, either Saka or Martinelli, would beat their man. And by the way, Saka had Masia, the United left back. He had that man on toast. He could not handle him, one-on-one. Martinelli, he did not have as great of a game as he had against Aston Villa's Dalot, I believe, was one of United's best players today. But still, a bunch of cutbacks, and there was no one in the box other than Gabriel Jesus to sort of finish it away. And that's really what killed us today. Because we were creating chances. We could have gotten 3 or 4 goals and either drew the game or beat them, but that's not what happened. The better team honestly lost today, but that's the way it goes sometimes, and you've gotta be clinical in the final third, and you cannot leave these huge holes in the midfield, especially when we're gonna play a high line. Gabriel's, Magalhães's speed, Saliba's speed, I mean, it can't recover when you're all the way on the halfway line and you have Rashford just steaming in. So frustrating day for the Arsenal. But we're still top of the league. We're still 1 point clear. Early days. We've won 5 out of 6. A really, really good start. Even this game, I'm not too angry with the way we played. I think perhaps the substitutions, I don't think they really helped us, honestly. We looked a lot more wide open. I don't think they worked. They just did not work. But as a whole, the way we played, we were the better team, and I can't be too mad at that. Thank you for sticking with me, my people. Please slap that like button and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Take care.